Good morning, friends. This is the final Sunday Easter. This is the final in the pattern after Easter, the sixth Sunday of Easter. In the coming week, we have Ascension Day, which concludes this very special time of meditation, thought, reflection, and learning. It's a very intense tertiary education, this particular part of the year, and we need to take advantage of it for two reasons. One, the special blessings around at this time, an intense connection with the Christ. And secondly, if we do reflect on these thoughts, lessons, stories, we get a great deal out of them as our intuition opens, as our heart opens, and as we connect between heart and intuition and intellect. A very special time. In the collect, it reads, Lord Christ, whose wondrous triumph thy faithful people year by year do celebrate. We pray thee, as that the years roll on, we also may triumph over sin. Sin is separation. Sin is us separating ourselves from the Christ within. Christ never moves to separate himself from us. We are always the prodigal sons and daughters. We always wander off, and then eventually it dawns on us what life is all about. The Christian life, the Christian path, is the reunification, the coming back home of the Christ within. That's the path. So when we think about the world at the moment, we think about the turmoil in the world, and we wonder, what's going on? Is there a plan? Is this chaos? Does it really matter whether we're here or not? Well, some of those messages come through in the epistle this morning, which was read by Matthew. This epistle talks about, in this case, the Jewish tradition, the Hebrew tradition, where the coming of Jesus the Christ was prophesied. And the pattern was set. And the pattern was set by God. This was a recognition and a cementing into place of the Christ within. And it was played out through an intense passion drama. Intense passion drama. So this wasn't joyous. This wasn't a big party. A big party everybody remembers. This was really intensely fraudful, worrying for all the people in the middle of it. When we think about the world today, we can think of lots of circumstances where this is a reality of the people right in the middle of very similar things. And sometimes our life goes awry as well. All sorts of bad things happen. I think it's really, really important to remember that there is a plan, and it plays out through what we think is good and bad, stuff going our way, stuff not going our way, all that sort of self-centered stuff. God's plan rolls on. And as Christians then, what do we do about that when we're having not such a good time? We try and get in alignment. How do we get into alignment? Well, we start off the day by trying to get into alignment. Lord, be with me at the beginning, the middle, and the end of this day as I walk the path appointed for me, in tune with your inspiration. A little prayer like that, whatever words you want to use. When you're attempting to be in alignment, a lot of extra power and energy comes your way. It doesn't always go as planned, but spiritual evolution is intimately connected to physical evolution. The two go step by step, hand in hand. It's not obvious unless you look at the broad picture. It's not obvious unless you look at the big picture. You think, why do bad people get away with those things? Well, in the short term, it might look like that. In the long term, it is not like that. And so the prophecy, which is referred to in the Acts of the Apostles, makes the people who this particular person is talking to in the Acts of the Apostles, perhaps Paul, perhaps Luke, talking to these people, remember what was said. And right in the middle of it all, the people who were most closest to Jesus, they weren't too sure about it all. But here we are, rejoicing in his triumph, which is a very special spiritual growth, the transmission, the transmutation of him, manifesting the Christ completely in himself. And then in the gospel, the reference to the women again, coming to look for the Lord. The reference to the men walking along the path and not recognizing Jesus the Christ being with them. And then the 11 gathered. We know what happened to the 12th. The 11th disciple, the 11 disciples gathered, all a little bit fearful, forgetting all the things that Jesus had taught them. God has you in the palm of his hand. Work with him. You are co-creators in his plan. Work. Move your feet. Get up and about. Stop feeling so sorry for yourself. And then the conclusion of the gospel, where he said to them, you people, you're really hard to convince, but here I am. Here I am. And soon, a special blessing is going to descend on you, which is Whit Sunday. But now, you are ready and able. You've just got to get the confidence, get your confidence back, but you're ready and able to go into the world and preach the gospel to every creature. What's the gospel? The gospel is Christ is with us. Are there other aspects to the gospel? Yes, many other aspects to the gospel. But Christ is with us, and this is the path. Look for opportunities to identify Christ in your life. And when you see them, when you perceive them, little things, little coincidences, little happenings, little certainties that spring out of your heart, when you see them, pause and just for a moment dwell on that feeling, that numinous taste, that little coincidence, that lovely perception. Just feel it for a moment. Get used to it. Make it part of your being. This is the gospel of the Lord. And as you grow in faith, that's what that means, you convince yourself, you grow in the certainty that you hear something intellectually, you think about it in a sort of maybe a daydreamy sort of a way. But then as you graft it into your heart, your faith grows, your confidence grows. The hard times come, but you're not swayed so much. You're not disturbed so much. You're not so disappointed. You're more in alignment. You're just saying, this too will pass. This too, whatever it is, the bad stuff, this too will pass. Here is my path. I'm going on this path with these little touches of the numinous that are given to me through Christ's presence in me. This is the gospel of the Lord. This is the Christian path. So this time is a special time for learning these things. We're going to go through some intense learnings in the Sundays that follow. Ascension, very powerful ceremony. Whit Sunday, Trinity Sunday, the starting of that part of the church. So take advantage of this time. Align yourself with the journey that you should be on, and align yourself with the power of Christ within, who assists you always, 24/7, to stay on that path.